Now let's see how to use this different functions, different graphics primitive in our code. One more parameter which is remaining is ellipse. So let's see that one and then we'll start with the code. So basically here in the ellipse parameter, it is same. There is no such difference as such. Here first thing is we will pass the surface on which we want to draw the ellipse. Then the color tuple, like which color we want, RGB tuple. And then the rectangle parameters. And then the optional line width if stated will be drawn, or a hollow ellipse instead will be drawn. For example, if you want to draw the hollow ellipse, then we don't need to pass the width parameter. But if you want to draw the filled ellipse, solid ellipse, then in that case, the width parameter value is changed. So these are some of the basic drawing primitives. Now let's start with the code and let's understand how to use this different graphics primitives. So I'm going to create a new file, and in this file I'm going to write a code for drawing the graphics primitive. Now let's start with the code. So we are going to write the code for drawing primitives. So let's rename. Now the first step is we will import the necessary libraries which are needed to draw the various shapes on the screen. So first library is Pygame. After importing the Pygame, it's very important to initialize all the modules within the Pygame. To initialize all the modules within the Pygame, we write pygame dot init method. Okay. So you can also initialize one module at a time, but if you write python.init, it will initialize almost all the modules in the Pygame. After initializing all the modules in the Pygame, we will create the display. We will create the display for our game. Okay. So let's create the display. So for that, first we need to set the size of the display. So let's create the size of display. So this is the size of our display, and to create a display there is a method which is pygame dot display. Okay. So we are going to create the display which is equal to pygame dot display dot set mode. Here we are going to pass the size of our window. So this is the parameter which we have passed here. You can also set other parameters also. So if you want to check any parameters, then you can also do that with the help of the tab. So tab is basically used to auto complete any of the command. So this is the command to set the screen, to set the surface. Now after creating the display, now let's put the title on the window. To put the title, we have another method which is set caption. So this set caption method is the method of display function. So pygame dot display dot set caption. Okay. So with the help of set caption, we can set the title of the window. So you can give any title. I am giving drawing primitives. Now after creating window, setting the title, now it's time to create the main game loop. So this main game loop contains all the logic of our game, all the drawing primitives. So whatever logic you want to put, you can put that in the main logic. First we will create two variables, that is finish. We will set this variable to a boolean value false, and we will create another variable which is clock, which is used to update the screen. So this clock basically provides us frame per second rate. So after the frame per second, the screen gets updated. Whatever the value we have set for the clock, after that much amount of time, the screen gets updated. Pygame dot display, pygame dot time dot clock. So we are going to create the instance of the clock. After setting the clock, we are going to write the main game loop while not finish. So this loop will run until the value of the finish is false. Okay. So this loop will run until someone terminates the program. When someone will terminate the program, the value of finish will change. So value of finish will change to true, and then this loop will break. Okay. The next thing is, we are now going to check the events. So whenever someone performs some events, we need to check that whether the event is properly triggered or not. So we are going to check each and every event. So whenever the quit event happens, we are going to shut down the program. We are going to close the program. So for that, we need to check each and every event. So we are going to write the loop, which is for event in pygame dot event dot get. So this pygame dot event dot get method is used to get all the events. So whenever we hover a mouse on the screen, whenever we click something, whenever we presses a keyboard button, so these are all the different events which gets queued. So in a queue, these all events are lined up according to the sequence, and with the help of this for loop, we can check each and every event and can take actions accordingly. So if someone presses exit button, quit button, or if someone just closes the window, so we can check the type of event also. So if event dot type is equal to pygame dot quit. So quit is a constant which is used in the pygame. So if someone presses this button, then the application will get closed. So this application will be closed if and only if this while loop is terminated. So if you want to terminate this while loop, then you need to change the value of finish. So this loop will terminate only if the value is changed to true. So whenever this quit constant is called, in that case we are going to change the value of finish to true. So whenever the quitting events occur, then we are going to change the value of true, which will terminate this loop and our application will get closed. Now, you can also set the clock tick. Okay. Here we are basically setting the frame per sequence. So after how many frames you want to update the background. So in this way we set the frame per second rate. So after 20 frames per second, our background will get updated. Now let's clear the screen and set the screen background.